Hi everyone, Caleb here with another video in my T3 framework deep dive. If you are unaware what the T3 framework is, it is a technology integration framework that was designed by Sonny Magana. It was created by him. And so what I'm doing is taking each of the three domains in that framework and comparing them to the ISTE standards for educators. So this video is about the third and final domain, the transcendent domain. The transcendent domain is what allows technology use to result in authentically original and unprecedented growth in knowledge and contribution to value-generating performance. And that comes from Dr. Magana himself, page 65 of his book, Disruptive Classroom Technologies. The transcendent domain has two parts, the first being the inquiry design. This is where students begin engaging in transcendent uses of technology by designing their own learning journeys. In the early stages, students should probably follow processes that have sequential progressions, but it should be used as a scaffold towards independent learning and interdependent learning between students. Students need to investigate problems that matter to them. This is a key. It has to be something that has value to the student in terms of trying to solve that problem. They're designing questions that address the problems that they've identified, and then they're trying to generate solutions to those problems. It represents how in the real world research is conducted, right? It's by focusing on and then struggling with those ill-structured problems that may not be resolved or resolvable, but that matter to students. Students are going to learn disciplines that are probably going to serve them throughout their lifetime, right, across a wide variety of disciplines. And the neat thing about inquiry design is it really puts the learner squarely in the center of the experience. It shifts students from being passive followers of our curriculum and our instruction, and it makes them active designers of their own mastery goals. It's their personal journey, and it makes them the makers of these platforms and tools that they need to navigate the new landscapes that they're finding themselves in. And again, this is coming from Magana's 2017 book. The second piece of the T3 framework, the third domain, is the social entrepreneurship. It's the final stage of transcendent technology use, and it's where we combine generating societal good and then generating value for educational purposes. Students who are engaging in social entrepreneurship, they're creating tasks that build on the inquiry design phase by contextualizing both their own experiences as well as the technology tools that they have available to them. This is the situation that's really driven by their need, the student's passion, and it's authentic and real to students. That's why it's so important here. Social entrepreneurship activities, these are ones that have the ability to empower learners to be leaders, because it helps them attempt to solve those wicked problems. And those wicked problems are what Magana is defining as these societal problems that don't have great answers. They're tricky, they're tough to solve, and they're not straightforward. But they are something that is meaningful and impactful to our students. This is probably the stage that gives the greatest potential to add value to both our students and then society as a whole. It really means shifting our students' roles again beyond just consuming the information we're giving them. They're now autonomous thinkers. They're generating their own solutions. They're wrestling with these problems that aren't super well defined and structured. They may not even have solutions currently, but they need to have ones in the future. This is what allows them to become more reflective, more ethical beings who can try to bring about a better world. It's definitely the highest value that's added by technology. I think that Magana is reaching for the stars here with the transcendent. I think it's a very tough thing to implement. I think it's probably where teachers would struggle the most. But I will say it does align with some of the standards that are put out for teachers. So the ISTE standards, 2.3 of the ISTE standards for educators talks about citizen. And it means, it says that educators should inspire students to positively contribute to and responsibly participate in the digital world. 2.3a is about creating experiences for learners to make positive and social responsible contributions. And I think right there, those positive and socially responsible contributions ties right back into that social entrepreneurship. I think those go hand in hand and work really well. Um, 2.3b tells educators that they need to establish a learning culture that promotes curiosity, critical examination of online resources, and fosters digital literacy and media fluency. Having the inquiry design process being one of the features of the third domain ties right into this standard. We're creating a learning culture that establishes and promotes curiosity. Well, through that framework, we are encouraging our students to be curious and to look at problems critically. 2.3c, mentoring students in safe and legal ethical practices and digital tools. I think that's also key. Those safe, legal, ethical practices, those ethical pieces is probably one of the keyer things in those wicked problems. And then the last one, 2.3d, model and promote management of personal data, digital identity, protect student data privacy. As our students are creating these things that they're passionate about, they're giving information away potentially because they are passionate about it. This is where a teacher is able to model how to show that passion, how to show that drive, how to create these things that really resonate with someone, but still protect your own privacy and your digital identity without going overboard. So I would say that even though Magana's third domain, the transcendent domain, is reaching for the stars and is something that is probably tough to do in a lot of classrooms without a lot of detailed thought going into it. The standards, the ISTE standards for using technology in the classroom do line up with this very well. And so it's something where you see standards, you see how we should do something line up with a potential method to do that. And you don't always see that. It doesn't always match up. And in this case, it does, which I think is a great way to have, an ending to the T3 framework. That the fact that this framework kind of across the board matches standards, and even though it is a hypothetical process, it matches what the real world is showing us. I think that bodes well for this being a framework that is actually actionable inside the real classroom. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you took something good away from it, and I hope you have a great rest of the day, whatever day it is when you watch this video. Thank you very much.